Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. We're on to question number 4 in the 2001 Fermat paper. Okay? So let's take a look at the question. Hopefully you've had a chance to try it for yourself. Question number 4. Two rectangles overlap with their common region being a small rectangle as shown. So this small rectangle here with sides 2 and 1.5. Okay. The total area of the shaded region is, and then we're given our options here. Okay. So we have a 5 by 8 rectangle and a 4 by 9 rectangle. And we have them overlapping at this small rectangle. We want sort of the area of the whole shaded region. Okay. So this might be a little confusing because you might say, well, what if the shaded region is, what if the rectangle, the 5 by 8 rectangle and behind the 4 by 9 one, what if that is also shaded? Then shouldn't we be counting the total area? That's not the case. That's not the way it's set up. Sort of the idea here is they're not sheets of paper. They are rectangles that are actually just intersecting. And the figure that we're concerned about is this 8, and then we go down all the way over here up until we go down by 3.5, then we go over, then we go down by 4, 9. So we're actually concerned with the larger, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8-sided. So we're concerned with the larger octagon shape. Okay. So if that wasn't confusing enough for you, let's actually sit down and do some math, and hopefully this will all sort itself out. Okay. So, as with most picture questions, I'm going to draw the picture. So what I'm talking about is when we overlap the two rectangles and we just trace their perimeters, we get this 8-sided figure here. We're concerned with this shaded area. Okay? That's what we're talking about in this question. Alright? Now, we don't really have a way to deal with a figure quite like this, but if we do consider them as two overlapping rectangles, so the area is going to be rectangle 1 plus rectangle 2. But when we add both of these rectangles' areas, we're counting this area in here twice. We count it once when we add in this rectangle, the 5 by 8 rectangle, and then we add it in again when we add rectangle number 2, which was the 4 by 9 rectangle. So we need to subtract this smaller area here, 3. Okay? And when we do that, when we subtract off just one copy of 3, we've accounted for the fact that we're counting it twice when we just add up the areas of 1 and 2. Okay? You might think, well, if it's overlapping, we need to cancel it out twice, but then we'll just be left with a cutout chunk of rectangle 1 and a cutout chunk of rectangle 2 put together, and there'll be this hole in the middle. We don't want that hole, so we only subtract off one copy of 3. If this is getting a little confusing for you, try actually cutting out 2 different sized rectangles from pieces of paper and overlap them. Okay? If you cut out that tiny little overlapping rectangle twice, you're not going to get the total area. You will get that little hole. If you cut it out once, then you don't have any more overlap, so the area you see is the area of the 2 pieces you have. Okay? So that's the idea behind this. Well, what's the area of rectangle 1? Well, he's 5 by 8. We are told its dimensions. And to figure out the area of a rectangle from its dimensions, you multiply them. Same with rectangle 2, it's a 4 by 9. And wouldn't you know it, we're even lucky enough to actually have the dimensions of our smaller rectangle. 2 times 1.5, or 2 times 3 halves. So I know without using a calculator, this is going to be minus 3. But if you need to use a calculator, of course, there's no shame in that. 5 times 8, 40. And 4 by 9 is 36. So 40 plus 36 minus 3. Again, you can whip out your calculator, or I would say 36 minus 3, that's 33. 33 plus 40, well, 30 plus 40 is 70, and we still have an extra 3 left over. So I'm going to say my answer is 73. Now, if I were a little unsure of my mental arithmetic, I could grab a calculator, as some of you might have already. But we have 73. So, let's see, was 73 one of the possible answers, or have we thought about the question wrong? And that's always possible. Just because we decide on one way to do a question doesn't mean it's right, or it doesn't mean that it'll always work out. But here we have E73. And you'll notice if we had subtracted another copy of that rectangle, as some people out there might have thought, we would have subtracted off another 2 by 1.5, which is another area of 3. And we would have had answer B70. Okay? So when they make up these questions, they do try and figure out where people are going to make mistakes, see what the outcome they would get is, and put those answers on here. So you do have to be quite sure of your answer, even with a question as early on as question number 4. So we have E73, and that about does it for question number 4. So we're going to take a look at question number 5 in the next video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this contest, and hopefully I'll see you there. Thank you guys so much for watching.